What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sideline to Baseline with your hosts MB and K Lou. And hey, we got the regular crew in here today. Can't beat them, join them in the building. You know where he from. Kakalakis. And Double A in the building, representing the U as usual. Speaking of the U, they still haven't, you know, put their vote of confidence behind their guy.
No,
But
nor
yet
will
I
they.
think but yet I think the carousel might be headed down south pretty soon here. I think they've been winning though, so it's been hard to go against. But if what MB says is true and they have a standard, then we know who up next. So what you feel about that, Double A?
I listen. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I'm just happy we have a quarterback for the first time in 20 years.
Oh wow.
Because this kid can sling it. So somebody's going to get handed a really nice quarterback right now. So
Wow.
that's where I'm at right now. And unfortunately, he's going to take it out on you, on your Duke team again this weekend to finish off the
Hey
season.
man, God, we doing so bad, boy.
Sorry.
Golly. Hey, oh my goodness, baby.
So
Out, golly, it's getting real ugly around there, and we thought the program was going in the right direction, and now it done hit a U-turn. So, speaking of the
Boy,
U, my program hit a U-turn. How about that?
it happens.
it's weird. It's almost like you can develop them. But if the stars aren't there, I think Wake Forest found out how that went. Those are some developed players in Wake Forest.
But
And
Jason, obviously they got a few free agents, just a few. But if you look at Wake Forest, you look back. Remember they had that linebacker that went in the first round. I think he came. Did he come out there to Seattle, MB?
Yeah, he was Seattle.
And that's the last time. So it's like
They had a linebacker in the corner.
Every 10 years or so. You know what I'm saying?
They had that running back. Who's that running back recently that was okay and he's in the league?
But you see what I'm saying? Like every 10 years or so. So I don't look at that because the last time they did that coach got an extension on his deal and then he got fired. You know what I mean? So it's like it's hard to sustain at programs like that because you're not going to be able to recruit year in and year out. I mean, look at Duke. We got a chance to play in the ACC championship game and got beat to sleep in that. But yet we thought we were, oh man, we'll be able to put together a program and be able to compete. But you can't recruit behind it. So it still goes back to what you and MB kind of go back and forth with all the time. It really ends up with recruit.
You gotta be able to cook with better ingredients.
And it's not only recruit; it's also this transfer portal, which is a whole new ball game. And now you invite the NIL into it. These guys can get paid. It's gonna take a new way of thinking. I think going forward with these schools that want to catch up to Bama.
And LaFrida, yes, I was wearing a Wyoming Cowboys shirt. One of my kids that I used to coach actually went there. CJ, Cornelius Jennings, Jr. actually played there. So my kids, that's the only thing I required of them is to bring me back a shirt. That was my payment for helping you. Bring me back a T-shirt.
That's a recruiting violation. I'm reporting that.
No, that was them paying me. I wasn't paying them.
I know, but that was the cost to get access to your students. So Wyoming is going to lose.
That was the kids. The kids did it.
It didn't come from the bookstore.
Awesome. Her son played baseball there, so that's pretty sweet. CJ told me it was freezing. He a Florida kid. So I tripped out that he went. So how about that?
Get in where you fit in.
I told him, find me that on the map. We don't even know where Wyoming is down here on the map. So
MB's just sitting there waiting to spike the football about the Ohio State Michigan game.
No, I'm still like taking back when he say Duke made a U-turn. That's been a long U-turn. Good Lord.
there we go. Are we going there again? I'm a shut up, Jason, so this don't turn into a Miami show. So
I'm just saying, that's a long U-turn. Good Lord, y'all, that's the last time y'all had 10 wins, and man, and y'all went down from everything. That's been a long U-turn since 2013.
Well, it sounds like a 2001 kind of party to me.
Yeah.
Hey, most 2001 we got a national championship.
Right.
In 2002 we played. Then 2000, our coach get fired going 7-6. Coker, he could have won 2 championships. Get fired going 7-6. If he's at Duke, he'd got a raise.
Yeah. We definitely gave him more than that. Gave him a statue too.
He needs to. I like him. I think he's a great coach. I like him. I like the dude. A good dude, man. He good people.
You know what's crazy is where he went. What is it? UTSA. Usually Texas San Antonio. They're ranked in the top 20, and Miami's not. 20 years later, something like that. Isn't that where he went to coach? Or he went to one of those.
Oh, you talking about Coker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think he went to Texas San Antonio or something. I think
they're ranked in the top 20 now.
That's interesting. So yeah, man. Let's go all the way to he's a problem, because there was some problems this week, and let's start out in the NFL, because I got a funny feeling we're gonna go straight to college after this.
You didn't take it. I was trying to get you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So I'm starting this thing off, man. Jonathan Taylor. Man, we ain't talked about a lot of running backs this year, but Jonathan Taylor, a problem in Indy, baby. 32 rushes, 185 yards. We ain't heard that since last year. Pull out any one of Derrick Henry games, right? but Jonathan Taylor, 4 touchdowns too. 4 touches. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, he had 5.
Oh, I saw 4 on there.
No, he got 5. I think he had 4 rushing and 1 receiving.
Oh well,
he looked like Marshall Faulk.
Rushing touchdown. So okay. yeah, you're right. I was talking about rushing. So he 5 total, but 4. You know what I'm saying, on the ground, man. Jonathan Taylor, he's a problem.
Most definitely. I thought I was watching Marshall Faulk with that 28 in that Colts jersey. But I hadn't seen that in a long time.
Well, who was your problem, AA?
My problem is what was his name from Remember the Titans? The California kid, Mr. Sherbert out there. That kid threw for 380 yards last night against the Steelers and ran for another 70 or another 90. So 470 plus total yards and 3 touchdowns. Mr. Justin Sherbert. He's a legitimate problem. He's going to be around for a long time. I've been impressed last year, and what I've seen this year is he's done it against everyone. So I see them making a real problem for somebody in the playoffs this year. Sunshine, that's right. That's who he looks like. So,
Jason, who was your problem?
Are we doing college or pros?
Pros.
Come on. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 50 yards running, 5 incompletions. Man, we didn't lose the game due to the quarterback. I think he's rusty, and I think that we had 2 game-winning drives, but that's not on him because he just doesn't have the full offense. You can tell the full playbook's not there when he's in the game because the routes are simple. So that's what Washington figured out. But I think once he learns the playbook, I think we're in. I think Cam, he's a problem for everyone else.
I think Tyler Heineke was a problem.
Sure was.
Tyler. I
He
get
plays out in
confused.
San Diego for the Chargers.
I get confused with that Tyler Van Dyke down in Miami.
Miami again. Oh, Miami. Everything's Miami. What's MB doing? Is he getting mugged?
I don't know. I thought he was gonna come in with his problem. So
he's got a problem. Oh, there we go.
MB, it's on you. NFL.
Yeah, can you hear me? It's all static. I can hear.
Like
you. But hey, you said what, Jason? Can you hear me?
This look like watching evidence or something, like in a courtroom.
I can't hear him. But hey, he's a problem. Can y'all hear me, guys?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me? He's a problem, man. I'm going to Patriots defense, man. Good Lord, it was a problem for the Falcons. They made the Falcons look like the dirty birds, not the way what my man was doing this, but they was out there flopping. They couldn't get nothing going, man. That Patriots defense, a 25-0 shutout, held the Falcons offense to 11 first downs, 2 for 11 on third down, 165 total yards. God, 165 total yards of offense. Are you kidding me? 125 of those was passed, and 40 was rushing. And then on top of that, they had a Wendy's 4 for 4. They had 4 sacks and 4 INTs, and one of them.
Oh, man.
They a problem?
They're a problem.
Yeah. His signal is a problem.
But
defense, man, they embarrassed Atlanta. That's a pretty good example. That was bad. That sequence where they threw in a backup, he threw a pick six, backup's backup, he threw an interception. Atlanta, man,
that whole AFC East now is a problem. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to win that thing now, because Buffalo ain't running away with nothing there. Don't look like.
Man, that was a rough game. The Bills against the Colts.
Well, listen, Bama played this weekend, man, and when I looked at the numbers at the end of the game, obviously they quarterback killed. But I'm one of those guys that look at the stats and really want to see like who was really them dudes or that dude. When you look at it, it's 2 wide receivers, John Mechie and Jameson Williams. Man, Williams went 8 for 190. That's 8 receptions for 190 yards. That's 200 right there.
Yep.
3 touches. And then Mechie followed him with 10 catches, 173 and 1 touch. Man, that was all his yards right there between them two guys. That's 400 yards. Them two are a problem. And listen, I love to give credit where credit is due, but if you end up with, basically 500 yards passing and 2 guys got 400 yards, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jason, I'm sorry, but you ain't doing too much.
Dude, I think all that game showed me is Alabama ain't much, man. I mean, Arkansas sitting there playing right with them.
Let's remember the best defensive coordinator in college football at Arkansas. Don't forget that. He's getting paid like a head coach around here. And them 2 dudes right there, though, Williams and Mechie, they're a problem. Double A.
I think
I'll jump to the other conference that we've been talking about that we thought that was full of parity, which I think they've the big Ohio State, which I'm never a fan of, but that young quarterback completed 90% of his passes, 32 out of 35 for 432 yards and 6 touchdowns?
Yeah. 32 or 35 though is the number.
The 32 or 35. Even with nobody on the field, that's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do that in warm-ups, Jason. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not talking about you in general, but I'm saying in general, you see quarterbacks miss that many balls in warm-ups.
Yeah. And I don't care if they're all bubble screens. It's still impressive.
So, am I up for college? Yeah. I'm going to stick with the homer. Kobe Pryor, all right, big name, big shoes to fill. That's no problem. 190 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, Clemson all over that number 10 Wake Forest, ran them off the field, man, right out of there. They thought they came in thinking, we're number 10. We got here. Some guy up in North Carolina constantly says that we give Clemson problems every year. They didn't. Toby Crowd, he's my problem. I'll let you do the he's a problem.
He's a problem.
There you go.
Hey, look,
that was
man.
That was crazy.
Hey, look, so let's go right after it, man. Down here, it's a coaching carousel. It is right in Gainesville now. I don't want to beat my own chest, but somebody been telling y'all that for weeks. like this is coming. And the funny thing is like, you know, we had a guy that done disappeared that was arguing with that. Like that wasn't the right move. I was like, it's the only move. I haven't even read why. The only thing I read was the fact that he said they gave an opportunity to coach this last game coming up, and he decided not to. Said he'd be a distraction, but he's been a distraction since the Alabama game. Again, I'm going to argue the point that he shouldn't have ever switched quarterbacks, because now, guess what? You're in the same position. Whoever takes that job's in the same position he was in. You know, going into next year, you have no real guy, and you got to play quarterback carousel. At some point, you got to believe in a guy, say either he's going to get it done, or when I make this switch, he'll never see the field again. But we've seen both of them every week from this guy. And I think that's what killed it, Jason.
For me, I think it's been a long time coming. It just doesn't seem like you know how when you're in a head coach, man, you got to do a clock management, you got to play call. Whether or not you're even actually calling the plays, I mean, they're not going to call something that he's not going to let happen. And good God, that sequence at the end of the first half against Georgia,
you'll never let him live it down.
Oh, what an idiot! And that right there. I just remember watching that, going, "This man is the head coach at a major college football program." And an 11-year-old on Madden wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like what? Like that just, I don't think he'll get I don't know. Maybe. He's got a name that people have heard.
He'll get another chance, but if not, his buyout is so nice it don't matter.
What are you talking about? He'll be with Nick Saban's office coordinator next year.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying head coach. I don't think he gets another marquee head coach.
What are you talking about? Go the ingredients or the the equation is go after you get fired, go work for Nick. You'll be right back in the mix.
Right back.
Like right back.
Yeah. Sarkisian, yeah.
Sorry.
Everybody.
And Lane and Mario and all of them.
Everybody has gotten a head job after that.
Jimbo.
Like I'm not working for anybody else, but I'm going to Alabama. I'm going to Tuscaloosa, baby.
You ever been to Tuscaloosa?
Nothing there to do but coach.
You ever been to Tuscaloosa?
No, but I would go in that position because you're going to get another job.
Yeah,
it just works.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't, Jason? Who's been there, been a coordinator, and then not gotten a shot? Heck, they're giving their position coaches shots, Jason.
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen,
I'm talking about coordinator. You don't even need that job. Just go get on the staff, man. Go down there and water boy, and you'll be able to get a D2 head coaching job.
Get that alabama.edu email address, and you're in. Shoot your resume from that. I think this will be the closest year somebody's going to take Venables out of Clemson.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that.
Somebody's going to come calling for that.
Well, does he leave, though, because he's on the hot seat all of a sudden? Or, okay.
He ain't on the hot seat.
He wants a challenge.
I mean, he did it. Didn't he do it before, Jason? And got canned? Wasn't he at Auburn, got canned, and came back to Clemson?
Yeah, but, I mean, he's been the best defensive coordinator in the country for, 10 years? I mean, hands down, man. Doing more with less, and now he's doing more with more. You know what I mean? I mean, we were overachieving, and now we're achieving, and it's been consistent. We haven't had a bad defense in 10 years.
Why aren't the Gators talking about Dabo? Why don't they go out?
Dabo.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking about it. He get his SEC opportunity. Go against.
He's not leaving.
No,
that'd be crazy for him to leave.
He
can honestly say that's a program that he built.
Yeah,
he can really say that, and then for you to basically, and he put them on a level now that's not like a upgrade. Like, I think we're too nostalgic down here. Jason. Jason will tell you, I used to get on him all the time and about Clemson and South Carolina, the whole thing. But he's put that program where it's Clemson and Florida's 6 spots below. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even think they're a spot or 2 below. So that's for him, that's taking a pay cut, and I know he really wouldn't, but I'm just saying that's like a pay cut.
Yeah. I don't even think he would go. Everybody was worried about Alabama. I don't think he would even go to Alabama anytime in the next couple of years.
Oh, that's the only job he would take. It's always a job, Jason, but that's the only job. Like, Dabo could never survive in the NFL. So even the teams that are flirting with him, that's not what you want, because he's a kid guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, rah. Like, that don't work in the NFL. Like, he's a motivational guy, which doesn't really work in the NFL. It's all about X's and O's. And being able to hire the right guys to put your guys in position and motivate them during the week to understand what's going to go on Sunday. But Dabo, I think he'd go to Bama in a heartbeat, because how Bama would do it too. They wouldn't come to him. They'd send Nick to him, because it'd be a situation where Nick would be moving on to retire. So it'd be like Nick would make the call. So it'd be different, Jason. It would be like he'd get a call from Alabama.
I think it would be. I don't think it would be anytime in the next couple of years. I think that's a long way, because Dabo's still young. You know what I mean? He's nowhere near the age of Nick Saban. So
that's what I'm saying. That's the only job. He'll never admit to it, but that's kind of what helped get him the job at Clemson. If you really think about it, was that tie-in to Alabama.
That's actually home for him.
Right. And then even Roy Williams, let's remember, Roy Williams was coaching at Kansas and they was kicking UNC behind. And he still left. Why? Because his tie was still to Dean Smith. Yep. And that whole nostalgia of UNC. That's all I'm saying, Jason. It wouldn't be a knock against Clemson. It's just,
they couldn't pass it up. They couldn't pass it up. Never.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think even that call from Nick anytime in the next, I'll say 2 or 3 years, I don't think he would. That would be like, even if Nick decided to retire, they win the national championship, and Nick's like, okay, we had a loss up and down season, I want to go out on top. I don't think Dabo would go now. I think it's too soon. I don't think
Jason, I think you'd have to admit that Clemson's still behind them. So that would be an upgrade. How slim you would debate it was, I think you still admit that's an upgrade. So again, like,
but see, that's I think in Dabo's mind, I think he wouldn't want to until he got Clemson. It just, because like you said, that's his. He did that.
Oh, so absolutely.
And he's, not to be mean, but he's corny. And so I think a corny kind of way to look at it that he would see would be, until I get them where I want them, I'm not going to walk away. I could see that being in his mind. Do you agree? With some of the things he says? I
just think it's too many similarities. I think it's the same fan base. You know what I mean? Like the same hard hat type of people that live and breathe their program. You could argue that Alabama may be bigger than even Clemson when it comes to that. So I just think it's too many similarities. It would be him leaving home to go home. I just think because of all that, it's not a hard sell for him. I think, but I think NFL don't have a chance, and that to me, that would have been the only case. But I think Dabo understands that he's not cut for that. So that crosses that out. But I do think everybody always has that job, Jason. Even if you're Nick Saban, he still looks at the NFL as he missed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I still think he would take a job in the NFL. I still think that. Because Saban. If the right job came available in the right set of circumstances.
What's the right job for him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cowboys.
I don't know that. But let's face it, he failed. You know what I mean? He failed there. So that's the kind of thing that I think bothers him at night. Because what more if he won 5 more championships, would we really care? Like, would it change your opinion of him at Alabama? I don't think he has anything else to prove. No. Whether he loses the next 3 championships or wins them, my thought of him wouldn't change.
If Georgia pounds him this year, does that change it?
I mean, because he's back the very next year. Like, who can ever say that? Like, we're seeing him, and let's be honest, Ohio State, they're back. Like, every year. Like, Clemson's finally got kicked out of that situation. But, between those two and
it's over.
I'm sorry to go ahead and throw their name in the hat again, because we'll move right on to that. Them Fighting Irish, baby, they right there knocking on the door.
With Cincinnati.
Here we go. So,
they ain't getting in. Ain't no way.
So I lost Oklahoma, baby. But
and
I
Oregon.
Gave me a Fighting Irish. Jason, I said, remember we talked about MB's question came up and it said something like, who do you think outside looking in, and everybody's naming like the number 5 team, the number 6 team. Remember where I went all the way to 9. Remember that? I said,
Rudy.
Hey, these people are here again, and I'm looking between them and the number 4 team. I think they got a chance.
Dude,
you really think they're gonna put them in over Cincinnati?
I think they both might be, and I think it might be Bama, Ohio State, and Cincinnati and Notre Dame.
Hey, every day of the week, baby. If it came down to that, remember, still one TV contract, baby. That's the only contract in football.
I don't know. That's just such a hard case. Who was Notre Dame beating?
Nobody. Right?
USC.
Except for they played a real schedule. One that, again, Cincinnati can't compare them to. The only thing, again, if we're sitting in there having that argument, man, we're going to go right to head, and then I'm going to convince y'all to get out of that game and then go game for game. And then I'm going to say, let's go back to head, and you guys both are going to say, man.
It was early in the year.
Yeah. That's Notre Dame's not the same team.
Ohio State's lost early in the year. If Alabama pounds Georgia in the SEC championship game, does Georgia even make it in?
Not pound, but
run away with it. It could be a track meet. They'll run away with it.
If they keep it close, which, let's face it, Kirby's gonna play Nick like Nick has played everybody else up until when Lane Kiffin came to town.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what Kirby's gonna do. He's gonna hold on to the ball, and he's gonna play defense where they're playing cover 2, 2-man, and they're trying to keep the ball in front, inside and in front, baby. That's what they're gonna do. So no big plays. So he's gonna force Alabama to methodically, even if they throw it a million times, they're gonna be throwing it for 5, 7, 3, 8. Like, he's not gonna let them get down the field like that. So even that's going to look more like a running game than actually throwing the football, which makes the clock go tick tock and keeps the game close. So I think a close game,
they're both in
17 points or less, they in. you'll make excuses for why the game was, they'll go in there and argue, but it's hard, especially if MB and DeHaven's right. Think about it. How many people are in that room saying SEC still was the best conference? So if you go in there with that attitude, how can you get rid of it?
I think my Final Four, I'm going to guess, I don't know. After seeing Alabama struggle with Arkansas, I'm not so sure they blow out Georgia. I don't know. I don't think Notre Dame's going to have a chance to make that argument. I think it winds up being Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati, and I don't want to say it. But it just looks to me like Michigan. If you look at them now, look at where it's going to fall. You know what I mean?
But they'd be a 2-loss team, Jason.
Yeah,
Michigan might get blown out by 40 next week.
They may not, though. You know what I mean? I mean, they will. But I mean, I'm just saying.
So you're saying a 2-loss Michigan, just like Double A was stating, is over a 1-loss Notre Dame?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, if you had to sit me in the room and make an argument,
you're on too much cold medicine.
I don't.
You guys don't care anything about history. That's all I hear come out of your mouths every week.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, will it actually happen? No, but I don't think any amount of logical discussion about this is going to matter. It's going to be something wild anyway. Remember, they put Cincinnati in 6 when this came out, and we were like, they'll be 3 or 4, and then they'll find a way. No, they were like,
I did.
Oh yeah, they were like, literally, if we're being honest, they were like, we won't do what?
Hey, look,
6. Like,
I got a 2-loss Michigan over Cincinnati. I'll give you that. But they're not going to be over Notre Dame.
That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's what man. That's what I meant to say. That's why it was weird when you said that. And I was like, I don't know why he said that. I'll ask him after the show. Like, no, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Notre Dame, and then they'll leave Cincinnati out for Michigan. Despite, like, I think if Michigan plays Ohio State tough, they'll get in over Cincinnati.
Well,
like,
Trent says Michigan's a fraud. Tell them why they're not.
I think they are too. I agree with him. So I'm just saying, I think the committee is that egregious in their disrespect. The way that they just debuted Cincinnati at 6, if they get word that the left guard has a cold, they're like, oh, he's out. Okay, what 2-loss team do we need to put in over there? Like, they will do it. I think a 2-loss Michigan will get in over Cincinnati. I think that's easier in their mind than a 1-loss Notre Dame. I feel like that little head-to-head.
A 2-loss team over an undefeated team, regardless of what the schedule is crazy.
Double A.
I agree.
Answer Harbaugh's situation right now. So, he's going into this in a better position than he's been in his whole 7-8 years there right now.
And he can go right back to square one after this week.
And that's what I'm about to ask you. I'm about to ask you, do they call the dogs off no matter what, or what kind of performance buys him more time?
He's got to not only hang tight with him, he really, I thought before last week he had a chance to beat him, but Ohio State just sent a message. They're not playing around. He is not sleeping well this week. It's been a long time since he slept well, but his brother is sleeping much better in Baltimore than he is right now. That's for sure.
Well, what's interesting to me is MB both and DeHaven both poo-pooed all over, guess what, Ohio State's defense. Oof. And then they celebrated Michigan State's offense, preferably really their run game. I would love to hear what they both say after a 57-7, but I'm sure it come in the form of, the Big Ten's overrated, we told you. But they told us that Ohio State would struggle with Michigan State's run game. I think, though, Jason and I kept trying to argue the point of, like what you just said, Double A, you're going to get in a track. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
Because they're going to score points. Can you keep up?
And that's what blew my mind this week was not only did that what obviously Ohio State's firing on all cylinders right now, But how in the world did Oregon beat them? Oregon just got blown out of Utah, didn't even show up. They're 3 in the country.
Early in the year, like I kept telling y'all. I don't care it was on the road. That wasn't the same team. Game 1, no, but game 2, yes. Doesn't matter. That was a young quarterback making his second start. His second start. And it played out.
I heard you. What you say, Caleb? What question you got for me?
So for you in DeHaven, you know, let's talk about the Michigan State game that y'all felt like was going to give Ohio State's defense issues. What is your okay. Well, I
said Michigan State was overrated. I said their defense was last in the country. That's what I said.
I thought you kept complaining about Ohio State
defense is still a question mark. And Michigan State, they were part of my day clowning because they didn't even try to run the ball. They ain't even try it. When they was trying to run the ball, they got out of their comfort zone early in the game, even before it got out of control. They trying to pass the ball. They had the number 1 rusher in the nation. They need to run the ball. Their offensive system was. Their offensive coordinator, whoever called upon, they were clowning because they didn't commit to run the ball. They should have committed to run the ball, just like I think you were saying how Georgia would play Alabama. That they know who they are and they'll stay to who they are and run the ball. Michigan State did not run the ball, right? They did not even run the ball early in the game, right? And then on top of that, their defense was horrible, right? And which I said before the game, their pass defense was worse in the nation. I said they were worse in the Big Ten, last in the Big Ten. So to me, it was bad. It was point shaving. I don't know what they were doing.
Well, I don't remember any of the Michigan State talk. I thought you, myself, and DeHaven kept talking about Ohio State. The point was never Michigan State, at least for me. I was always defending Ohio State and telling you why, obviously. I mean, it's projected now that they're going to jump to number 2 in this thing in a situation where, I thought you and DeHaven was poo-pooing on them saying they barely make it,
I'm saying
I just don't understand
about their defense. I said their offense is outstanding, right? I said their defense is still a question mark for me. Right? I said, that's what I was saying. I said their defense is quick. I said the offense, they got the elite receivers. They always had them from the beginning, right? And then I said, but their defense is a huge question mark because Oregon offense really wasn't that good, and they was attacking their defense, right? And that's what I said about their defense. The question mark, and I still have that question mark about their defense. I do. I still have a question mark about their defense, even after because Michigan State was so bad. I mean, they need, like I said,
so that was their fault on defense.
I think you said
they
what?
Still had to go defend them, B. They don't get no credit.
Michigan State made it easy. Michigan State, if you saw early in the game, Michigan State was trying to sit there and pass the ball as opposed you got the number 1 running back in the nation run the ball. Stick to who you are. It's almost like. And I love the season he had, and I hate to poop on him, but it's almost like the head coach just pissed down his leg because he got away from where his bread and butter. His bread and butter is running the ball, right? And then defensively, just like how you say how Georgia, I would have did the opposite. I would have made Ohio State run the ball just to keep it close, as opposed to having that by 40 defense where it was man-to-man coverage and they just running behind their safeties and getting behind the ball. So Michigan State, they were clowning, but I haven't even watched Michigan. But just Harbaugh, his whole philosophy and what he's all about, this Michigan Styles makes fights, and this Michigan Ohio State game is a much better style for me than what I'm talking about.
You didn't have a chance this week?
MB, even after you saw 32 or 35.
But I know Harbaugh is going to run the ball. I know Harbaugh, and so for me, that's what I'm saying. It's still a question mark behind Ohio State defense because I even said when Georgia played them, we talked about Georgia playing at Clemson, right? And I said it was defense versus defense, right? to me, Georgia defense against Ohio State is a strength versus strength, but Georgia's going to pound the ball, and Ohio State haven't proved that they can stop the run consistently yet. And that's what I said.
32 or 35, 6 touchdowns, and he still don't
passing
believe.
the ball. They have their offense is potent, but their defense, they haven't proved that they fixed their defensive issues yet. And I said that was the question mark I had. Because you brought up about if the game was early in the season, I was like, yeah. But I said the biggest question mark though is their defense.
So I don't think. So the point is,
the coordinator got demoted during the season.
It's nothing Ohio State can do between now and playing Alabama or Georgia, I guess, Jason, to prove to MB that they're as dominant as you and I think they are.
I mean, Georgia doesn't scare them. I don't understand what we're missing. Alabama can beat Ohio State. Georgia cannot. And the weird thing is Georgia can beat Alabama. So, but I don't see any way Georgia beats Ohio State unless the kids just don't show up. I mean, I get what you're saying about the defense, but okay, stack the box. Their quarterback's not going to beat you. I just don't see the math. I mean, like last year, Alabama, Ohio State, you saw a little bit more of the talent gap. You saw a little bit more of the size gap. You're not going to see that quite the same against Georgia. They're just not.
And you ain't going to see it against Alabama.
Right, yeah. They ain't there anymore. So I just don't see any avenue where Georgia beats Ohio State. I mean, if you really think about it, I know what you're saying, defense. Okay, well, they'll just stack the box. That's all they're going to have to do. You know,
and at least you'll slow it down and make them have a 16-play drive, which plays into Ohio State's hands.
So
casino odds, more plays.
Right.
Ohio State's like you'll mess up eventually. You'll have you'll fail a third down in the red zone and kick field goals, and we'll match field goals with touchdowns.
With touchdowns, exactly. So you start it's a track meet again, and that's my answer. Both our answer to MB when he talks about their defense. Who cares? They're that much better on offense.
What goes out the window in the track meet? Running game.
Yeah.
So Jason, I agree with you in the sense of because we talked about SEC versus Big Ten, right? As far as the much better matchup, right? I agree with you that Alabama is a much better matchup against Ohio State, just because Alabama offense is explosive, right? Because they can run and pass the ball. They'll do whatever it takes, right, to get it done, right? Yeah. So I agree with you. Huh?
Better calm it down before Pac-Man calls in.
Oh, I agree with you that far as out of the two teams, right, that Bama is a much better matchup against Ohio State because they got a better offense, right? So I agree with you on that, Starper. But I'm just saying though, right, with like just how you gave Kirby credit as far as how he'll keep the game close versus versus Alabama, because to me it's the same matchup, but Bama's got a better defense. Their offense is like a notch below. Their offense is explosive, Alabama, right? Not explosive as Ohio State, but they're explosive. But to me, he knows from a defensive standpoint, he's not going to do what Michigan State does and just say got out of who they are, forgot who they are, and just try to pass the ball. He's gonna pound that ball. He's gonna run that ball, and he's gonna do what he needs to do to keep that thing close. And all he needs to do get a takeaway, keep the game close. He's gonna do a much better job than what you see that Michigan State does. And that's why I say Michigan. I feel because of the philosophy of Harbaugh that it's gonna be a much better game. Styles may fight.
I guess to me, you have to look at it as of the teams we're discussing, whose defense can emulate what Texas A&M did that night. I think Ohio State's can.
Child, please. Against who? Who have they done it against? Who have they
needed to? Who have they played against? I mean, I think that Ohio State can emulate what Texas A&M did. You know, some heavy blitzes, off, different, drop a guy that looks different. And I just don't know that Georgia can do that and then match points. It's the then match point. They're feast or famine. Look at their points, okay? When they have these high-scoring games, it really ain't the offense. They're creating a turnover. They're getting some short fields.
It's definitely defense, no doubt. It's definitely defense. But Ohio State, Ohio State is vanilla defense. They don't do a lot of scheme stuff. They play either cover 3, they play cover 1, they line up and show it, and then they may do a 5-man pressure. Their defense is not a complicated defense at all.
But look who they're playing. That's all they got to do.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So, but
they got a little crazy against us
because they're dependent on their talent. They got a good defensive line. Their defensive line get better. They got 2 defensive ends. Number 11 was doing a great job. Number 6 also was doing a great job this past. The linebackers was the question mark, right? And the secondaries got better. I still have a question mark based on what I saw early in the season. I still have a question mark about their defense. And to me, last week they didn't get tested. I was disappointed that Michigan State got away early from what they got. I mean, first 2 series they came. I'm like, what game plan they're running, right? So I want to see their defense, right, play better, because to get to that championship level, you got to have better defense, and their defense is early. What I seen, I haven't put a check mark by.
What I saw in that Bama A&M game was that A&M was the first team to get pressure on Bama. And they made a young quarterback start to have to think about things. I don't think Ohio State has seen a Georgia defense, and that could take the time, and that could rattle some things. But it's there. You play that game 10 out of 10 times. Ohio State's going to win it probably 7. But on any given day, Georgia might win that game.
And I'm just saying, like, this Georgia defense, right? And I would love to see the matchup, because this Georgia defense, I remember last show I said about Arkansas, right? They went and just shut Arkansas down. But Arkansas, right, against Alabama, right, they were like how they were before. Because I saw the Arkansas, like, they made Texas A&M look like they were a high school team, JV team. I was surprised. I mean, they dominated Texas A&M. Right? It's all about matchups and stuff, for me, So I just got a question mark about Ohio State defense before I sign. I know their offense is explosive. I know the quarterback, even from the when they played Oregon, right? He threw for 300-400 yards. He still had a good game. He wasn't a problem, right? And then now they're committed on running the ball is much better. They're committed on that. Henderson he's got over 1,000 yards in the season. But their defense, I got a question mark about their defense, Caleb.
Well, I don't think they're gonna be able to answer it until the Final Four, MB, for you, because you're saying Michigan should play them, tough. If they do the same thing to Michigan, they just did to Michigan State. I got a funny feeling you ain't gonna give them credit for that either. So
no, and like I said, I haven't really taken Michigan to the lab. I'm just basing off Harbaugh philosophy, and I think Harbaugh, based on his commitment, right? Because to me, they're kind of like Oregon, right? And Oregon really wasn't that good. Their Oregon quarterback was passing wise. I mean, he wasn't that good. They lost their top running back, but they used the run instead of the pass, and I know that's Harbaugh philosophy from offense. And I know their defense is solid. So I just want to see how Ohio State's got to show me a little bit more on defense before I go like, oh yeah, man. Because right now they're the Kansas City Chiefs, right? In that regard,
I'll go with that.
Well, I actually get that.
Yeah. They're the Kansas City Chiefs. They're heavy offense, and
but they're Kansas City Chiefs who won the Super Bowl. That's who they are.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So then think about how Kansas City forced everybody to play their game.
Catch up.
And didn't care about the defense. They never made any changes on defense. Everybody ripped through them.
Who Kansas City play yesterday?
Dallas.
No touchdowns. Like top 3 offense in the league. So saying their Kansas City defense kind of
they shut down Green Bay the week before.
Go ahead.
Remember I said, Jason, Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs. And they were, everybody was shredding them on defense.
Yeah.
But you couldn't keep up.
Yeah, but their defense now, but we sleep on their defense. I mean, obviously they're aggressive defense. I mean, they're not a top 10 defense, but they create turnovers, whatnot. But right now this year, they had a lot of dudes hurt. Their defense is a little bit better than what we give them credit for. I would say that.
I don't think, but the best they've been is when they won it all, MB, and they defense stunk.
Yeah. Well, because their philosophy was we'll give one up.
Them to.
We'll give one up.
No, I think K-Lou, their defense was kind of middle of the road. They didn't get the credit. They're more of a big play. You had Frank Clark, you had Chris Jones, you had Honey Badger.
Yeah,
you had guys that made plays. Right, they weren't like a top 10 defense, but they wasn't like the bottom half of the defense.
And they forced people to have to walk down the field on them. But and then they made plays. But yeah, I
this
see
year,
similarities, Jason.
This year, K-Lou, they had a lot of injuries in the beginning. You didn't have Frank Clark in the beginning. You didn't have Honey Badger. You didn't have a lot of guys. So their defense was worse than it normally was. I put it that way. Is that a better way to explain it?
I just think I agree with you similarity wise, but I'm gonna go all the way with it. Is what I'm saying. And you're stopping at seem like their offense isn't gonna force other teams to do what Kansas City forced everybody to do. You know, like get out of character. Because either you get out of character and try to keep up, or you get blown out.
Right.
Which one?
Right.
Which is what happened at Michigan State. They got out of character. Ohio State forced them to.
Right.
Whether it was quick or not.
I mean, shoot, they point shaving. I understand what you're saying. I think with Bama and Georgia, especially, I agree with Jason. Bama's got a better chance because their offense is explosive and they got a good enough defense. They match up well. But in Georgia, defense been so dominant, and I just seen how they have dismantled some explosive offense. I mean, like I said, Arkansas offense was explosive. They played against the A&M. They just played against Alabama. I don't know. Their defense is elite, and their Ohio State offense is elite. So I definitely understand. I got you.
So MB, before we moved on real quick, tell us your Final Four right now today.
Today, right now, I mean, my Final Four, I would love for Alabama and Georgia get in. So in order for that to happen, I think Alabama's got to beat Georgia, right? And then I think Ohio State, obviously, I think right now, like I said, I haven't taken Michigan Lab, so I see Ohio State winning. And then I see Cincinnati squeezing in. I don't see Notre Dame leapfrogging Cincinnati, right? The same question mark we have: who has Notre Dame played? And then one, I use this argument: they played Cincinnati in the middle of the season.
The same team
they played Cincinnati in the middle of the season. Like, I was curious. So they played Cincinnati in the middle of the season at full force, right? Only question mark you have, and like you say, and like I said all the time, that if they want to find a way, they'll make a way. If they want to find an excuse, they'll find an excuse. I get that. But Notre Dame, there's no way, because who has Notre Dame played? And they played them in the middle of the season.
Everybody,
right?
Man.
Who? Like who?
Here's what I want to rewind. Here's what I want to rewind y'all back.
No, I'm saying what ranked team has Notre Dame played?
This is what I want to make y'all realize. Again, we posed the question earlier in the season: what games were going to determine the outcome of the season? And I said Notre Dame schedule. Remember that, Jason? And I said, if you look at their schedule, it's the best in the business every year, because they go around the league and they play a schedule that is tough at the end of the year. And I know you're going to go to that rank stuff, but I think Jason killed your rank stuff when you went to the SEC last week. But they've played every conference in football just about, man. And the way they do it, that if they didn't touch your conference, two of the teams they played did touch your conference. So it's a harder conversation to have. I'm not a Notre Dame guy. I know it sounds like it, but it's a harder conversation to have when you bring them in the room, because their schedule is better than anybody else's every year.
Not strength, diversity of schedule.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But that's what I mean. But that's what these conversations are coming down to.
And it's frustrating that doesn't produce a better team if you think about it. They don't, because you can get built to play within your conference. I think the Big Ten is like that. Ohio State only became Ohio State because they stopped. They're not built to play within the Big Ten. Ohio
Right.
State is built to play in the CFP. That's what Clemson
Right.
had to do.
So what
We
you're
stopped playing to win the ACC. That's when we went out and beat Bama down.
so
Right.
what you're saying is you're a big Stanford fan this week. Because it's that Pac-10 that's got a chance.
I don't like Notre Dame either. I don't like Ohio State either. I hate Ohio State, but here I am like a cheerleader for them. But Notre Dame plays the most complete, varied,
Just
schedule.
at least it meant to that's when we asked that question. I went to Notre Dame week before the season started, or week 1. After week 1, we had this conversation.
And K-Lou, like you brought up about like what Jason brought up about Georgia, as far as what ranked teams have played, right? And that's what I'm saying. I can use the same argument versus Notre Dame.
That's what I said. I said you're going to bring that argument up.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
But that's not the one I'm having.
But that's what you're saying. You're saying because, like Jason just pointed out, the diversity of schedule, it's not like how it was in the past, because typically you could say, oh, yeah, it's a strong schedule, because typically USC is going to be ranked. They used to play Michigan going to be ranked. Those teams are being ranked, right? Even North Carolina, I was like, man, they're going to be ranked. Well, they were ranked, now they're not ranked.
They played at Wisconsin.
So it takes away from the, like you said, that being an independent school and having the freedom to set your own schedule and to play the quote unquote big dogs from each conference. It doesn't carry the same weight this year.
I think it does. Because you don't go into it knowing that, MB. You go into it for the reason why you stated beginning. The way it shook out, it didn't work out that way. But I think they go into that room and they give them credit for that. Listen, again, I'm cheerleading for Notre Dame. I can't stand them as well. But I'm just calling a spade a spade.
And I was hoping that Oregon would have won the game, because I wanted to see, after dominating performance by Ohio State, I wanted to see they put your theory to the test and see if they would leapfrog Ohio State over Oregon based on the head-to-head competition. So now I'm holding on to that with Cincinnati. Like, I want to see them, because Notre Dame's schedule, it's not a strength of schedule. It's got diversity, but it's not a strength of schedule that it's not that big of a difference. Let me say, it's not that big of a difference.
Golly.
Let me say that part, as far as ranked team. And just a head-to-head matchup in the middle of the season like they played, and Cincinnati played them in a dominating fashion. I want to put that theory to the test, and I'm like, I want to see what happens. I'm cheering for Cincinnati to stay undefeated. I'm cheering for Notre Dame to keep winning, because all it's doing in my case, for me with Cincinnati, is building their case up that they beat a legitimate team with Notre Dame, and it wasn't a fluke.
You know who's got the best win in the country, if we really look at it? What team in all these conversations has 2 wins, over a top 3 team this year? There's only one team in America.
Purdue.
Who beat them?
Yeah,
Ohio State.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame beat them.
Notre Dame.
Oh,
Notre Dame beat them.
Put me on the committee. I want the chair at the end of the table, because I just did it.
Look,
Jason, you just put them in. That's what you just did.
They about to play a spoiler again with Stanford, because Stanford has some convincing wins, against some ranked teams. So they're about to play another spoiler.
They're a 3-touchdown favorite on the road at Stanford, this Notre Dame team.
But Jason, all I'm saying is that when you talk about head-to-head matchup, right, that carries so much weight.
I agree.
And Notre Dame don't have an excuse. The only excuse Notre Dame may have is that after that Cincinnati game, they found their quarterback.
They ran the table.
I remember you say that, but I forget in the year. The year that Alabama had the 2 losses, they got in over a team that they beat. I mean, that beat them. The second loss, I want to say it was A&M that year again. That when they got in.
Yeah, I don't remember that. What you're talking about?
Auburn that year.
I don't remember that.
And whoever they lost to finished one outside of it. You know what I mean? They were one outside of it, and Alabama got in. So it's precedent. I'm gonna just throw that out there, but Jason just helped my argument, and I wasn't even trying to argue for Notre Dame as far as like I don't even like that's not my team. I feel like they are now. But MB, you're saying Stanford right now, and it's like, man, because Stanford beat Oregon. You see what I'm saying? So Notre Dame would have put themselves right back in it again. You know what I mean? And you're still saying the head-to-head would have did it.
I'm saying the head-to-head.
I just find it hard for a team to schedule a schedule like that because we don't know who's going to end up like that. I'm getting them 10 points off the bat because of their schedule preseason. And then you see it play out. Oh, yeah, okay. Now maybe you get Cincinnati, you bump them up to even. But then when you play Cincinnati's schedule and you look at that, you're like, this is trash. That's the only game. and Cincinnati, and I agree with that. Cincinnati's schedule is not strong. The only saving grace Cincinnati had is that they beat Notre Dame in the middle of the season on the road. On the road. They were on the road, they beat them. Right.
And head to head in the middle of the season, and Notre Dame would have no excuse. They had all the star players, they had everybody they needed, and Cincinnati whooped that butt. And for me, there's no way. I just, like I said, I want to see the conspiracy theory. I want to see it because I was like, dang, I wanted to see it. I wanted Oregon to win so bad because I wanted to see that if that head-to-head matchup, how much weight it really carries. You know, so that's just my opinion.
I see the bigger upset.
That's my opinion.
I see the bigger upset. I didn't even realize it. East Carolina's playing Cincinnati at home the end of the year.
Oh man,
East Carolina's knocked out a lot of teams over the years.
Those Pirates.
But yeah, I just want to see it, Caleb, because I think
I feel dirty after saying that. By the way,
this Oregon loss, right? It helped Cincinnati more. You know, it helped them a whole lot.
Well, anybody ahead of them doesn't help.
No, it helped them a whole lot. You know, because remember, I was thinking if Oregon run the table just because they're gonna play a ranked Utah to rank this, that they can leapfrog Cincinnati in, you know, and then if Oklahoma would have stayed undefeated, right? I mean, Cincinnati definitely would have been outside looking in, you know.
I'd take East Carolina as a 2-touchdown underdog at home this week and be very happy.
Wow.
Lord.
Really?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. That don't make sense.
No. I mean, Notre Dame better send me a check for that analogy earlier.
No, trust me.
Call NBC.
They know even. That's why when you brought it up, I know exactly what you was making reference to. You know,
felt so dirty.
I know exactly what you were making reference to. So, but hey, just that head-to-head matchup is got to carry a whole lot of weight. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Now,
I agree.
We bring you on here for 2 reasons: Clemson and Cam. So, our final segment, final thought of the day. Talk to us about Cam and Carolina, and does he put them in the playoffs?
I think we may have been in too big of a hole before he got back. I mean, good guy, man. 5-6 losses. I don't know. I mean, if you can get in with 7 this year, maybe. I think we're going to be competing in every game. We only had 1 bad loss all year. We were in every game. So I think he gives us a better chance. I just don't see it this year. I mean, the NFC's not great, but I mean, we've lost to all the on the bubble teams ahead of us. Minnesota beat Green Bay yesterday. We really needed them to lose. New Orleans is going to fizzle out because they just paid that missionary, like that Mormon guy, like $40 million, and he's not even their starting quarterback. So I think, you know, I think we'll probably finish with 7 losses, and somebody else will finish with 7 losses who's beaten us. That's how I think it's going to fizzle out.
And then second question, will Cam retire there?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the way the city responded? I mean, to come out to "I'm coming home" in the stadium and lit up the whole. I mean, it just. I never thought we would bring him back. So I think Tepper showed, hey, egos be damned in bringing him back. You know, most franchises, you got to admit, wouldn't bring them someone back just because they're not going to look like they're admitting they made a mistake. You know, I think Tepper, being a money guy, he just looks at numbers and results, and so I think that's a good positive healing. And I think I think he retires. I don't. I mean, there's no way we're going to let him go after this year. Not after the way he came back and been embraced like that.
That throw to McCaffrey was top level. You don't see that every day for the touchdown.
Threw him open. Threw him open and threw him over open. So
I was surprised by that. I didn't know he still had that.
It reminds me of
that's
that.
what Shipley's able to do.
Hey, did you see him play this weekend? I'm watching that kid every play because of you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was watching him too,
bro.
I was watching him too because of K-Lou hating on him.
Oh man, I'm gonna put him in the league. I'm gonna make a little hype video of him and remind K-Lou every day.
He was co-rookie of the week with Tyler Van Dyke in Miami.
How about that, Kevin? How about that? Oh man,
he didn't throw as many touchdowns though.
This kid, you know what? He's probably training right now somewhere in Pickens, South Carolina, and doesn't even know Kevin hates him. Doesn't even know. He's just out there.
He knows. If he had a good game, he knows Kevin hate him.
Oh man. MB, I'm shocked you didn't come right on saying I'm the reason why Dan got the axe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you called that out. I thought Lacey had one more year in him because he fired his D coordinator and whatnot, but they got him. You called
that
Bama
game, and Jason says it's the Bama last 2 minutes. I say it's
Georgia,
the game.
Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah, I remember.
I mean, last 2 minutes of that first half.
That's what it was, Georgia. That last 2 minutes of the first half.
And B, who do you see going to coach the Gators?
I was texting K-Lou about this. I was reading about this. What you think Lane Kiffin, would he fit in Florida?
They love him.
So it's
my heart says, but it's not gonna happen. I would love for Charlie Strong to get it.
Right.
That ain't happening.
I would love but it's not gonna happen. But I would like for him to get it, right? But when you talk about Lane Kiffin, I use this term K-Lou talked about in the preseason about moving the needle. And I think that would definitely move the needle, in that regards. Lane Kiffin in Florida, at Florida, you know what I'm saying? Like he's the closest thing you'll get to the old ball coach,
right.
Have his visor on the sideline, like Steve Spurrier. And and then, recruiting. I mean, he's going to recruit his butt off because that's one of the things that, like I say, when they want to get rid of you, they'll find an excuse. And as soon as Dan mentioned about recruiting and in the season, all that, he just loaded the ammo. He loaded the gun, put it in his head, right? When he talk about recruiting, because they're like 20-something in recruiting. And so anyway, I think Lane Kiffin, as far as that, checks all the boxes, and I think that'll be a great fit for him.
They're made for each other. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
They don't mind his antics. They don't mind his baggage. So
yeah.
Who y'all got tonight?
Why y'all say that? Because they hire Urban?
Oh, there we go.
It's that Gainesville way, man.
But you look at what he did, what he's done at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
What's he done? He brought excitement there, but
he brought excitement. The offense is
let's remember Houston Nutt actually did something there.
Houston Nutt did it, but then Freeze did it for a little while, got in trouble. And then now Lane brought it back to life. You got to give him credit. He brought it back to life.
Right, yeah. He made us talk about him, but
yeah.
I mean
it's a circus, though. I mean, it not everybody's gonna be able to win championships. And obviously, with Mississippi, they're never gonna have the talent to. Well, I don't want to say never, right? But I mean, Lane, he definitely put his fingerprint all over that team, especially with the whole COVID, what's going on offensively. That's his brand, and that's what he brought to the table.
And his father made a career in Tampa Bay, right down the road. So I see that a little bit as a homecoming for him. I see him belonging in Gainesville much more than I ever see him at Miami, because they were talking that was the rumor. Which
he killed that Kiffin thing when he blew up Tennessee. They don't respect that no more. He blew money name up too. Drug that through the trash can with Tennessee.
Hey,
they don't remember that in Gainesville. They got short-term memory problems.
Hey, just for the record, you know who actually did it at Ole Miss, that would be John Miller, because he was the assistant athletic director that was paying Laramie Tunsil's mom's rent. That he was the one. He came out and did it. Okay? Let's forget the coaches. All right. He probably bought DK Metcalf like a pre-owned Challenger or something.
Hey, that was wasn't that on damn Mullen dime? That wasn't Lane.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that wasn't
know.
Lane.
It was John Miller when he texted and he said, "I need to pay my mom's power bill." And he said, "How much is your mom's power bill?" And that was the text. Remember, he was like, "How's her power that much?" Not, "I can't pay a college recruit's power bill." It was, "Why is it so much?"
Right.
The last kid I paid was only $200.
Right. Who y'all paying for that?
Hey, Giants winning tonight?
Yeah, I'm going with Big Blue. Go Big Blue, baby.
Maybe.
That NFC East looking a lot more respectable these days.
I don't know, man. I think Tampa's in for a bad game. I mean, dude, they're in a slump. I mean, Washington's got a better defense than New York, but I think they can do a lot of similar things to Tampa Bay that Washington did last week. Right? No? Okay. All right. Got it. All right. Everybody's going Tampa?
Nobody sees Tommy losing 3 in a row.
Yeah, no doubt. And they got Grunt back now.
Yeah.
See if
Still
he can
no
make
AB.
Yeah, AB now he's definitely a difference maker. Still know him, you know.
Him running free over the middle makes a difference.
Huh? You say what?
AB running free over the middle because Evans and that other guys on the outside makes a difference.
Yeah, Chris Goodwin and they definitely. Yeah, their offense definitely explosive.
We didn't get to DeHaven on. We can talk about his 49ers, what they did to the Rams last week.
Yeah.
He would have called it a fluke.
I'm you know, we got
And they who they beat? Jacksonville this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the biggest shocker, I guess? Who most surprise wins y'all thought? Who surprise upset this week?
Tennessee loss.
That was it, yeah. That's better.
Yeah.
Against Texas, yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, man.
Yeah.
One bad needle to the lung. What could have been?
Exactly.
I like that. I like Frank Reich and I like that Colts team. I wouldn't want to play them in the second half of the year. They're gonna give you a game, no matter who you're playing.
You got K-Lou quarterback over there, Carson Wentz.
Now when the running back's got 5 touchdowns, it don't even make Carson look good.
He handed it off, Carson.
Hand it off. Don't lose the game. Right?
Hey, you can't get hurt and handed it off.
Exactly right.
Hey, yeah, their defense is solid too, you know. So who y'all think the team to beat in the AFC?
I think it's the
you
Chiefs.
got Tennessee, the leaders Tennessee, Buffalo took an L. The Patriots, man, can they do it?
I think you guys said it all along. K-Lou said
Kansas City?
I think it's Kansas City. I think they look like the team, you know.
They play games with people, man.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They playing like an NBA team now. Like my Lakers, we ain't ready.
I like this Charger team. I just think they're fun to watch. So I think they're gonna give somebody trouble in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play them with that quarterback.
I gotta say Tennessee. I gotta say because they can reproduce their game week in, week out. You know what I mean? Lamar's got a bad game in him every now and then. You know, Patrick's got a bad game in him every now and then. It's hard to say Ryan Tannehill does because they don't ask too much of him. You know what I mean?
But Jason, you still feel that way with Derrick Henry being out?
Yeah. They wouldn't beat LA without.
That's one of the reasons why they lost the game because what's the name? Tannehill threw some interceptions.
4.
But look how bad they beat LA on the road without him. You know, I think Houston was a bit of a trap game. You know, that's the worst game they played all year, and they lost by 1 score.
Yeah, I don't know,
you know what I mean?
that playoff. That's a whole different level, baby. We're talking about playoffs.
Wow. I think Cincinnati. I wouldn't want to play these young teams that don't know any better. So
yeah. I'm gonna say Tennessee. I just think it's easily reproducible what they do.
And what about the NFC, K-Lou? Who's your team to beat over there in the NFC?
I mean, the Rams. You know, throw them out there. You know, Tommy Terrific starting to fade a whole lot, so you know that's tough. But yeah, you guys know with the Rams and excitement that's about to happen in that stadium with OBJ, that may just be enough to start boosting, the team, the morale, all that kind of stuff. And he not even have to catch a pass or two,
Right.
I go with Arizona. I think we're playing 3 games without Kyler Murray, man, and winning 2 of them is impressive. So
yeah, and DeAndre Hopkins was out as well.
And without Hopkins as well.
I don't know, Kalu. I think Kalu. You think they still a fluke, Kalu?
Who?
Arizona 9-2.
Yeah. Well, I just don't trust Kyler Murray just because of his playing style. He needs to show me some maturity of not, being able to stay on the field. I'm just scared to get behind quarterbacks like that haven't learned how to either, like Vic. Vic was excellent with knowing he ain't really good on the ground much, but he got the heck out of bounds. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, or he just dive because he didn't know how to slide. He just dive and get on the ground. So he learned pretty quickly. I can't take shots. Kyler just seemed to still be able to take shots. It was running backs. Like Ward Dunn, you could never get a shot on him. And you get opportunity after opportunity to lay something into it. Emmitt Smith, same thing. That's why he won, the all-time rushing record. You couldn't. He played every game.
Right.
He was not only good, but he played every game. You're not gonna get a solid shot on Emmitt. He gonna duck his shoulder, cut you, cut your legs from up under you. He's gonna do something where you basically laying on him or throwing him. You're not hitting him, and I just feel like too many people get good shots on Kyle.
Right.
What do you think of this Green Bay and Minnesota teams? They're gonna have something to say when it's said and done. Minnesota's got an offensive juggernaut.
Well, right when you want to get on Green Bay side, Aaron gets into trouble in the media. Then he misses games because of COVID, and now he talking about his toe hurt for real. So he
looking for the exit. When I heard that toe, I was like, he's out of here.
hey, listen, and every athlete knows about that toe, boy. It sounds like it's nothing.
That's Dion.
It's a lot. You can't.
I think he'll be in Denver next year.
Man.
You think he'll be where?
Denver.
What you think he'll follow Peyton Manning route? Why Denver?
I think he's being too disrespected because I think he's being too disrespected by the organization. I mean, how it's even a question? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Brett Favre and him, and really he's kind of far exceeded Brett Favre. And Brett Favre's my favorite quarterback, but even after the little picture scandal, I liked him more. But I think that to achieve what he's achieved, and how are you even talking about it? You know what I mean? I think that that's kind of what. I mean, the man was trying to leave to go to Jeopardy. So you think he ain't going to go to Denver? You know what I mean? I don't think he plays another year in Green Bay after this. They got Randall Cobb, but they didn't get OBJ. So it's kind of like they just sort of did something to shut him up. And I think he's going to go somewhere like Tom. Tom was like, man, how come Peyton got to do it? You know what I mean? I want to go do it. Worked out for him. I think that showed Aaron right there.
But if you were him, when you go to New Orleans?
Stop it. Stop. Like I said, I think he goes to Denver, and don't do that. Stop it.
Why? Hey, Jason, why Denver though? That's what's throwing me off.
Yeah, there's nobody there, man.
Huh?
There's nobody there. Like Peyton got to go to a team that was ready to win, waiting for that piece.
They weren't winning before him. They had the makings of a defense, but Denver was not Denver until Peyton Manning. They hadn't really.
No, Peyton actually was a shell of himself.
You had some receivers there.
Yeah.
But what was Denver? But what was Denver without him?
No, I'm not. But that's what I'm saying. He came to a situation that was already awaiting him. If Aaron goes there, people have to come with him.
And he'll get him.
He got to talk to LeBron first before he go to Denver. You know what I mean? Say, LeBron, how are you able to do it 3 times?
I think Denver is where the smoke was for the trade. Remember, Denver was the one trying to get something with Aaron. That was the only team really floating. I think
I'm not saying. My problem is he's not gonna leave Green Bay where he's by himself. He's saying that's his words. Like he needs help,
Right.
to go somewhere else that needs help. That's why I'm saying
Denver will get
the only way he does that is if he calls LeBron and say, LeBron, how are you able to do it year after year after year? And please come help me recruit some guys like you.
I mean, Denver will go out and spend the money. Green Bay won't. You know what I mean? So I think he just knows that. I think and plus John Elway. I mean, to go play for John Elway, to sit in the office. Yeah, I'm saying because he knows Elway will go get who he wants. You know what I mean? Like, unlike whoever that guy is up in Green Bay.
Elway going to get him a car. That's about it.
No, I agree with you, but that has to happen. All I'm saying is we're going to see him, and then the day after, we're going to see like 9 players. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I got them right here. They're saying they're ready. You just sign, and then they'll sign. Like, yeah.
You're right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think maybe, and I'm not to say they got a lot of players around them, but I think Cleveland would be a good fit. The Browns.
Tough place, though.
Tough place in regards to what?
Living.
Yeah.
I mean, he live in Green Bay. He can't be ain't no tough in Green Bay.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm not saying they're like he like the
It's an all-star team.
They have the weapons.
They have the weapons.
And Pittsburgh and their division is very winnable. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good look. I mean, obviously he's played in the cold, so that's not a big issue to him. So I think, MB, that makes a lot more sense to me than Denver.
Yeah, that's.
But is there a prestige standpoint that comes with that at all? You think? Like he's like
no.
Well, like if Detroit had weapons, would he go to Detroit?
You say what?
If Detroit had weapons, would he go to Detroit, or would he be like, no thanks, it's Detroit?
Because Detroit ain't got no weapons. Because
they ain't got no weapons.
That's what I said. If they did, would he go to Detroit?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know why not.
He's already said he won't go to Minnesota. He's already said he won't go to Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
He's trying not. He don't want to go Favre's route and totally.
Hey man, we got to get out of here, or at least I do.
Yeah.
I think
New Orleans also be good too.
I think New Orleans. Happy, healthy Thanksgiving, fellas.
Right,
Happy Thanksgiving, gobble gobble. Thanks to Double A and beat them. Cam beat them, join them, baby. Thanks for pulling up, stopping through, rolling up. Hey, hollering at us, because you know us. From Sideline to Baseline with MB and K. Lou, we are gone.
Appreciate y'all, fellas.
Have a good one, man.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, man. Take care.
Same to you.
All right, thanks, bro. Well, God, I thank you for the show. Give you all the praise and honor. In Jesus' name, pray, man. What's wrong?